as well as Ruby Rose and Sting from Fairy Tale. So without further ado, let's go ahead and bring out Michael and Lindsay Jones.
Thank you.
Is this thing on? Oh my goodness.
I brought my bag, I don't know why.
Oh, you fool. Hey, can we give it up for Michael's bag real quick?
It's a cheap bag. I don't think it's available anymore, so.
Michael, you have the exclusive achievement on our bag here right now at Phoenix Fan Beauty.
It's not exclusive, it's just they don't sell it.
That's even now it's rare, yeah. So are you familiar with how Pokemon works? Also, hello everyone. Thanks for coming.
Hi.
All right, well, I'm just going to ask maybe one or two questions, but I am going to go ahead and open it up to the floor, meaning I'm going to offer up my mic. I do have my line moderator. There he is. I'll go ahead and hand off my mic to him. So if you guys want, you can go ahead and start forming the line now. If you have any questions. And my first one is, so Rooster Teeth, talk to me a little bit about that. How did you get started? All that, please.
When a rooster and a pair
Stop
of
it.
teeth.
No.
Would you like to tell the story, please?
First, there was a bang. Rooster Teeth, look, before I got there, does it even matter? No. So here's what happened. I busted in and I said, I'm running this place now. It started simple, you know, just like eating cinnamon, getting ketchup thrown on me.
I filmed that.
The likes, you know, that Lindsay was there, I recruited you, I said, this kid's got moxie. They can make it someday. And then Lindsay said, you have to, I dropped my badge, nobody take it. Lindsay said, you have to do your time reports. And I said, no, I won't do them. And then Lindsay said, I will tell on you. And I said, do it. And then Lindsay told on me, and then the HR was like, he doesn't have to do it. And you got upset.
It was a genuine point of contention. So who here has watched Parks and Rec? Ever? Okay. So you know the very like Lusty-No face when she's just so angry. She's like, that was me next to Michael as HR went, oh, you don't have to do your time reports. I was like, excuse me? Yes, he does.
Yeah, and then they made basically a category where it's like, well, just click on the timesheet and then just click this one box and put 100%. Thus defeating the purpose of even doing it.
Was it eat? Was it?
No, it just said Mikey.
100% Mikey all the time.
Yeah.
24/7 job.
Dude, you know me, I made videos online, they hired me, and I still make videos, and I can't escape. There's the exit right there. All of you could turn around and leave, I cannot. Like a vampire, I can't leave the building. Okay? I'm like a reverse vampire. You can leave, you can come and go, I'll just stand there looking out the window. One day I'll be free. One day. And that's my story.
Well, yeah, shout out to my living a reverse vampire. Now, I'm Team Jacob, so, for anyone who's not familiar, hi, I'm Lindsay Jones. I play the voice of RWBY in the show RWBY. Yeah, thanks for watching. I see a few fans out there. Y'all are awesome. We're also an achievement hunter. We were in this little show called Camp for a bit.
Yeah. Space Kid says hello.
Yeah, Michael's done Fairy Tale, for anyone who's enjoyed that as well. We've had the pleasure of doing some Funimation work. Yeah, that's enough about us, please. Tell us about
You didn't
yourselves.
say anything about Rooster Teeth, just so you know.
Yeah.
The question was like,
Michael.
what are you, like, how'd you get started there, what do you do? You didn't answer it at all.
You
I
made
gave
me
a
do
fake
it.
answer and the real answer.
I applied like a normal person. I said, excuse me, here's my resume.
No, what you should have said was
Here-
like, you got hired at a UT, blah, 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 boring.
I have an education.
Yep.
Michael made the YouTube videos.
I
smart.
smart.
So you're not.
I smart. I pointed my camera at a TV.
I have 2 degrees.
Wow.
Woo. I hope that answers all the questions.
Sorry, if you need me to go on, I'll go on.
Yeah, we got
No,
time.
really, I'm enjoying this chemistry a lot.
Thank you.
It'd be awkward if we didn't have chemistry.
Yes, it would.
We've created 2 additional forms of humans.
Just
That's
chemistry in
changed.
itself.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Now it's gone.
It's gone.
Voice, as you mentioned, obviously voice acting. How has that changed or made anything either better for you, both of you, in that type of industry? Because it's one thing when you do the podcast and it's just natural, right? It just naturally comes out. To where you're giving a script, you're giving something. How it's changed.
Funny story, I guess. I feel like Michael's a lot more comfortable being himself in a podcast environment. And while I enjoy that, I feel like I've had a lot more background in acting, so I much prefer to like project myself into another character. So for that reason, I love voice acting. I grew up about like 15 minutes away from the Funimation studios, and I've been a huge anime nerd since I was in middle school. I went to conventions and met people like Johnny and Bosch and was like, oh my god, you're so cool. So I just didn't really know how to get into that, I should say. And then we had the wonderful pleasure of knowing Monty personally, and we got to talk to him a lot at the office, Michael and I specifically. And working with him creatively is amazing. I could go on, but he understood that was a passion for both of us, and then also just being like huge anime nerds. He said, "I want Rooster Teeth to make this show that is very like anime inspired or anime adjacent." And you know, I feel like it was for lack of a term, like a blessing. I was given the chance to voice an audition for RWBY, and I got the part, and it was all history from there.
I also like that, like, not even beyond, I would say, starting volume 1. Like before it was fully being recorded and filmed, this was already changed, but especially volume 2, 3, 4, 5, with everything we do now, it's so much more standard, right, of like auditioning and reaching out to other actors like outside of Rooster Teeth and stuff like that. I'm gonna tell you how it went with Monty. You're gonna be this guy, you're gonna be that guy, you're gonna be this one, you're gonna be one of 2, and you'll be that one. And me going, oh cool. It's like, yeah, you're gonna be Son. Oh, I am? Yeah, okay. And then like a month later, this is like right before the show's like beyond Monty's brain, the pre-production started. Like, Monty going, oh, they told me I can't just pick people, we have to audition. I'm just like, oh, okay. I'm just like, oh, that makes sense. He's like, yeah, so you have to audition for Son. Okay, so I think it was him and maybe Miles go in the booth, like I go in the recording booth, and then he's like, okay, and I have like one sheet. I say like one sentence, like, cool, you got the part. oh, okay, great. And that's how I got Son.
That's a great juxtaposition. My audition process was like, okay, you can be RWBY, Pure, or Blake, please read. And I was like,
no,
I'm ready.
He's like, this is you. You have a tail. That's cool. That's cool. Not very conventional. People go, how'd you get started in voice acting? I just go, you don't even want me to tell you. Because you're not going to be able to do it. Just kind of be somewhere in a production studio at 1 a.m. on a Friday because you live across the street, but your furniture is delayed by 2 months, so you don't bother going home at night because there's more furniture at the office. And then there's another guy who works here who literally never goes home. And then that guy put you in his show. That's not my thing.
And that's how Michael got cast in Voltron.
Whoa!
I'm gonna go ahead and shoot it off over here to the audience, okay?
Hello. I was just wondering, what is your favorite blooper update flub line from anything you've ever worked on?
How long is this show? I feel like you should start, but you're the king of bloopers.
No, man, I never make mistakes.
Intentional
What are you talking
bloopers.
about? That's just called comedy. Probably something
Mistakes were made.
without nothing really jumps to mind, but like a funny thing I think of is in Camp. I think in a very maybe in a trailer. Or maybe it was just in episode 1. I don't remember. Somewhere early on in some form of Camp episode 1. I always do the voice, but they may have actually pitch shifted me a little bit. But then I want to say they took it out before the episode came out, but maybe I'm mistaken. I really don't remember. But for the most part, like Max is just me. It's not pitch shifted at all, and it's an easy voice for me to do when he's yelling, right? Because it's like that high pitch, like he's like, damn it, David, damn it, and my face I had to do this to like scrunch the muscles in my nose. Like voice actors like come from the diaphragm. I'm like, nah, I pull it out of my eyeballs. That's what Max comes from my eyeballs. And so I always have to make like a scrunchy face when I do it. But it's hard to do lines without yelling because it's just like the way the voice comes out. So if he's just talking, it'll get lower. And Jordan Swears, who directed it, will always be like, no, you're being Michael. You're getting too much Michael. And so I would always go to get back into character. So it's not really a blooper, but I do it all the time when I can feel the voice slipping. I'd go, time to put that voice up on the shelf. Put it up on the shelf. It's way up there. All right, let's do the line. So then from that point, Jordan would just go, gotta put it on the shelf. You guys are losing it. You gotta put it up on the shelf. And I go, my voice is down here, but it needs to be way up here on the shelf. Gotta hide those Christmas presents where nobody can find them. So when you yell, it's very easy. Hey, Space Kid, how are you? It's a little bit harder. It struggles. But that's something fun, I think, of voice acting in the booth.
I have the pleasure of getting to do bloopers because of Rooster Teeth also. Like, understandably, if you're working with other studios, there's valuable time spent in the booth. You can't really waste time doing bloopers or having fun. I get that. But we get the luxury of allowing ourselves to have fun, and we work with, I'm acting off of Miles Luna, who plays John, and is one of the writers for RWBY. So, when we're in the booth, we want to enjoy ourselves and have it be comfortable and not really be pressed for time. So all that being said, I have had the joy of getting RWBY's lines. A lot of them are ad-libs, like me saying, she does tuna a lot. That was fun. And I also grew up in the same area as Kara in the DFW, Dallas-Fort Worth, Texas area. So I know her a little bit more personally. So anytime that RWBY is making fun of Weiss, it's totally a little bit of Lindsay poking fun at Kara and vice versa. So all the ad-libs of
oh, I'm Weiss, I'm rich, I have money.
I'm just making that up. I just threw that out there and they went, cool, we got it, thanks. I do like that you mentioned shifting into tone though too, because a lot of characters that we do, I wouldn't say have the same tone, but sometimes have similar energy behind them. So RWBY is very hyper and positive.
But she strays a little bit more stereotypically effeminate, I would argue, a little bit. Space Kid, then he's far nasally, he's kind of a little bit more down here.
So there can be some blends sometimes where I have the same thing. They're you're too Space Kid right now. We gotta go back into RWBY. We're no, you're too RWBY, go back into Space Kid. So
it's easy for me because I do Max and then Michael. So.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, I describe myself Son's just you, and I'm well, Son's me if I'm nice. He's just a little bit happier, he's smiling, it's Son, I'm Son. If I were Michael, I'd be I'm Son. You see the difference? And that sort of answers your question.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Hello.
There's your blue hair still.
Hello, yours too.
So I was wondering if you could cast your daughters in either of your shows, any of them, what would you cast them as? What kind of character?
I feel we'd be judged very heavily as parents if we cast our kids in a lot of the shows that we do. Not to be too cheesy, but I have shown Iris, who is 5 now, Luna's 3, RWBY, and RWBY Chibi specifically.
What?
I know. Don't ruin the illusion. But that has been awesome to introduce her to that world, and I feel if anything that makes sense. It'd be really cool to have faunus children. Those are my babies. Yeah, that's cool. Take your time.
I want to give a real answer.
That was a real answer, right?
That was a lot of words. A lot of words. I'm thinking Iris would probably be Son, and Luna would be a Grim of some kind. like one of those Ursa Majors.
Super cute, but
Yeah.
No.
she gets mad. Run.
Yeah. Do you want this?
No.
Kick.
It's a very good impression of me, I appreciate it, but we're talking about I hope that answered your question as well. Thanks.
Hello.
Hello.
What advice would you give to people who want to become voice actors or looking into it?
As Michael said earlier, I feel like we are not the best people to pull for advice, just because it's a very unique situation, and we
You heard my advice already.
Yeah.
Move into the apartment with no furniture. Hire at the studio. Sit next to the guy that's making a show. Have him put you in it.
Yeah.
Just do that.
Or you could. I have to plug this every panel I do because I think it's invaluable advice. Yuri Lowenthal, who does the voice of a ton of characters that you're familiar with. Ben 10, Sasuke from Naruto, yeah. He was Mercury in RWBY, he's awesome. But he and his lovely wife, Tara Platt, who's also a phenomenal voice actress and is Blake Belladonna's mother, Callie Belladonna, they do a
Who liked me a lot.
Yeah, I know. Hang on, we'll talk about that later, Michael. I have some
Is that why I
thoughts.
got written out of the show?
Maybe.
Where am I? Bring sun back. Hashtag rising sun.
We need Forrest to come back first. Forrest,
Oh no, they don't
Team
even
Sun,
understand that.
it's a whole thing.
Okay, Forrest is Eric from Face Jam.
Yes.
So, he called the show Team Fruby when he was in it for 1 or 2 episodes.
I'm pro Fruby, and I feel like Yuri and Tara are too.
Okay.
That being said, they made a 3-part series on YouTube, and it is like how to get involved with voice acting, and it goes into the nitty-gritty on how to make a demo reel, how to get involved with auditions, who you can talk to, even at places like this, conventions. A big thing that I enjoy seeing and being a part of is fan projects, especially within independent IPs and fan bases. There are tons of people constantly wanting to do their own fan dubs or create their own animations or projects that are independent. So all that being said, you can find someone to bounce off of creatively and just kind of build your own repertoire. It doesn't necessarily have to be with a big name studio, but yeah, I'd say start there.
I'll also pass on advice that I overheard, so you could say I stole it, from Shannon McCormick. I always heard him say whenever I was on panels, as being like an actual actor and voice actor, is he would always recommend theater, local theater, just both to practice acting, right? Like, learn the craft, but also local theater is a place where a lot of local projects are sourced, right? So a lot of like, if there is a small scale, local, whatever, we need a voice actor, we need an extra in something, like Lindsay said, either like a student project or a fan project or something. Local theater is a place that it's like a good way to start to network, and so you both practice your craft, but also it's how you network, it's how you meet people, it's how you meet, not just other actors and stuff, but the people who are hiring. And it's just something that I've always heard him talk about, and any other actual voice actor generally agrees with him. So I pass that on from Shannon, wherever you are. I think he's an Oscar right now.
I was gonna joke that it's Oscar now, Michael. It's not Shannon anymore, right? Aaron.
Well, yeah, but
Yeah, Josh. Goodness.
that's a spoiler.
No.
That's
Please,
a
if you
spoiler.
attend this panel, you should be familiar with
What if you're still a fan of Ozpin?
Oh my god.
Oh
I
no.
mean, you can still be a fan, feel free.
I mean, also, has anyone seen Breaking Bad? Yeah. Okay, a couple people. Shannon was a crackhead in like a department store that Walt passed once.
It's true.
It's true. I think it was Walter Jesse, I don't remember.
No, it's
But I
Walt.
remember-
Literally,
I remember
there's a scene
watching
where he
it.
stops
It's when he's
and-
going to like buy a bunch of what's it called, like the cult medicine to like, I gotta cook. And then Shannon's there, and he's just like, he's cooking too, but he's doing it low level. He's a fool. Yeah, he's a fool. He's not making blue ice. Anyway, I'm gonna get off the math talk. Shannon was in Breaking Bad. That's all I'm saying.
Hang on, method acting. Here's
Well,
some
don't
acting
method
advice.
act. Math, that's not good.
I won't tell Breaking Bad how to make their show.
Don't do that. Come on, cancel. Cut that out. Cancel that. Edit. Beep. Thank you. Sorry, I feel like we answer the question immediately and then just make them stand there on display. You can sit down as soon as you want. I apologize. Thank you. Not yet. Wait. Okay, now you can go.
Hi. Okay, so this is just a question for Lindsay. I'm sorry, Michael. I guess you can answer.
Go ahead.
One. characters or anything like that?
Oh boy. I feel like I've looked up to too many two-dimensional people growing up. In fact, I guess honest answer, like people who exist. Joan Jett's always been like super cool to me. I clearly am interested in like a lot of goth/punk style. Pastel goth is currently my jam.
So you're interested in leaving them all over the house.
That too.
They're big shoes. Can't be leaving them in the hallway.
Big shoes, big dreams, Michael, step up. Anyways, another person that I have had the pleasure of meeting to and did look up to a lot as a kid is Lucy Lawless. Like Xena is like, woo, it's just so cool. And then I feel like as a person also, I really appreciate a lot of the activism that she puts forth into her work also. Short answer, I don't want to take up too much time, but those are two people that I really think about often and go, yeah, okay, we've got to roll with that. Thanks.
Hi Michael, hi Lindsay, hope you all are doing good. Question for you both. If there's any anime character you'd love to have the role of, who would it be and why? Or maybe just a show in general?
Look, I'm not even saying I want the role. It's been told to me fiercely. No, especially no more than from Fiona Nova, where she was out. She kept telling me like I didn't like it was partially it was my fault, and then kept going like, how do we fix this? She kept getting angry that I'm not the voice of Bakugo. She was like, that's you. And I was like, well, it's not. I mean,
Yeah, that is Clifford Chapman.
yeah,
That's who
and
that
he
is.
does a great job. And every time I watch it, I go, God, that must suck. Like, he screams every single line. Every single line. He's screaming, even when he's just talking. Like, I can't imagine what it does to that guy. Like, I go, just like thinking of the pain for just doing that all the time. But yeah, she's real upset about it. Just like, no, not to Clifford, but just like, why isn't this you? I'm like, I don't know. Why isn't it you? I'm like, well, I never heard of the show until it was out. Yeah, but why? It's like, I get it.
She saw the multiverse. She's
I'm
like,
just saying, I get her point, but like, no one has fought more for me to voice an existing character than Fiona and Bakugo.
It's true. Just because we're on the subject of Clifford the big red dog would be.
Yeah, but it did not look good. It did not look good. I don't know what, they look like a blood dog. I don't know what they were thinking.
Now you're on to something.
It did.
Goodness. Obviously I'm a Sailor Moon fan recently, and there's talent here that is part of Sailor Moon. So I know that we just announced one of the movies. I forget the names, listen, I'm old. Life is a blur. But if there were some kind of revamp, once again, of the Sailor Moon series, or even just like a random character, like I would straight up just walk on in a scene of Sailor Moon and be like, hello, and leave and be like, that's me! I said that! That's awesome! For example, Michael is technically an Attack on Titan.
What do you mean technically?
Okay, so IMDb says you're on.
What does that mean?
What were your lines, Michael, please?
I'm a reporter guy that says something like, the people are quite disturbed. And then I'm another guy in the background talking to some other guy while an important character is listening. And then I'm people getting eaten. So what do you mean technically? I'm in it.
It's fair.
Okay?
And
I'm
like
in
that.
it. Alright?
I'm jealous.
Sir, the people are quite disturbed. Wow, it's like you're watching Attack on Titan right now.
I will also mention too, just because the last question was like, who do you look up to? But just some kind of a blending. It's not someone that I looked up to growing up, but now especially like Michelle Yeoh is awesome. I don't know if you guys have seen Everything Everywhere. Oh my
Yeah,
god,
I've
so
heard of
good.
it.
So good. If we could translate that into an anime format and I'm somehow attached to the project, yeah, let's do that. Thank you.
Yeah, you'd be Rakakuni guy.
Oh my god, please, can I? Mike Chang from Glee? Yeah. Thanks.
Thank you.
This is a question just for Michael. So, you know how you have the Travis Scott meal? What would be the iconic face jam meal? Like, what would it comprise of?
Well, I don't care about face jam. Be Mikey meal. Jordan wouldn't have one. He'd be like, nothing here is up to my standards. I can't recommend anything. Wow, you're putting me on the spot here. But, it's gotta be, I'm gonna go with the spicy chicken. How about this? short and sweet. Why don't we bring back the pretzel pub and just call it the Michael sandwich? Why don't you just run it back, okay? If you're unfamiliar, it was the best sandwich ever created in fast food history. Wendy's got it, could have put them on the map. They had it out for roughly 11 months, surely tricking you into thinking it's permanent. Who has something limited for 11 months? No one, okay? After 2 months, it's permanent, all right? It's a hit, everyone's talking about it, which is me and Eric. Here's every Tuesday, he sends me a picture of the sandwich. I go, oh, I gotta get that. Wednesday, I get the sandwich. I send him a picture and he goes, oh, now I need another one. Goes Thursday. Back and forth, so on and so forth. Just eating this sandwich, just sucking it up. It's a spicy chicken sandwich from Wendy's on a pretzel bun with Kraft beer cheese and some other stuff. I don't remember beyond that point. Best sandwich ever. One day I wake up one day, it's gone. Pulled the rug out from under me. And I'm angrier ever than that it existed. I would have rather not loved and lost than loved at all. Okay? Just with that sandwich, that tells me that's a lie. Because now I drive past Wendy's and it's like, and I didn't even go there. I used to go to Wendy's, like, whatever. Pub came out, the happiest 11 months of my life. They took it, and now I'm like, oh my, why even open? Bring back that, and then just call the sandwich a hero's return. Featuring Face Jam. That's my sandwich. And I rest my case. Thank you. Now I'm upset.
Hello.
Hello.
Now, you guys play video games sometimes.
Hello.
What would be the one series of video game that you would want to voice act in?
It's not a series, but I'll mention it just because it's relevant now. Does anyone play Lollipop Chainsaw back in the day? Okay, cool. Yeah. So we might be dabbling in that at work again for people who haven't played. I wanted to revisit that. I would love to voice in a series like that. I love a lot of like high octane, heavy visual, sensory overload video games. So yeah.
Are you done?
I can go on.
I thought there was more. I'm not even wearing a watch. Look, I put it on just so I can go. I don't know. Resident Evil would be cool, though there's really it's not really good for like an actual character, right? Like beyond the main characters, which even then they screw up most of the time. 2 was great, 3 was okay, 3 maybe. 4 is amazing. 4 is the standard I think that all Resident Evil should be, at least as far as voice acting goes. It's just so cheesy, but it knows what it is. And like, you think about it, and the way Leon says, at one point he says, no thanks, bro. And it's like, the game's from like 2004, and it's like, bro is still like on the newer end at that point. So it's like, I look at it now and I'm like, people probably use the word bro way more now than that. Was like, bro, like someone wrote in the script, like, and then he's gonna say bro. But like,
Someone else went, do you think the world's ready?
but that's Leon, man. I couldn't be that. Every other character's like, ah, and then they're dead in like 2 seconds. You know, like, I'm trying to think of the most successful. Village probably had some of the most successful like new characters being like the villains. They all actually had dialogue and stuff like that. But I would love to be a character kind of like, I think his name was Marvin, the cop in Resident Evil 2. I would like to be kind of a side character that's just there, like helping the main person, and it's like, oh, this guy's dead. There's no way this guy's I just want to be a guy that's like, nobody freaks out in those games. You know what I mean? They're like, what's that? I'm like, that's a monster. And nobody's like, what the F? Like, I want to be that guy. I'm like, what's wrong with him? It's like, I don't know, everybody's eating each other, man. How come why are you taking this so well? Everyone's dead. Someone freak out. This is not a normal situation. That's more of that needs to happen in movies. People just going, in the streets. Everyone doesn't react. That's crazy. So many people would be consumed by standing still and doing nothing. They never show you that in the zombie movies. It's always like, there's an outbreak, and then there's 10,000 zombies. Yeah, because 9,000 people just stood there going, and they just did it off screen. So I'll be that guy. I rest my case.
I'd be remiss also if not mention. I should. Shout out to Freedom Planet is a video game series that is coming out with Freedom Planet 2, the sequel game, at the end of this year, and I am lucky enough to be a part of the cast. So please check that out if you guys like side scrollers. It's big fun. Hey.
Big fun.
Big fun. Happy time, yes.
Weird.
Much fun, wow.
Big fun.
I'm speaking in Doge, I'm sorry.
I have a question for both of you. How's it going from like Achievement Hunter or Face Jam going into the booth for RWBY or Camp bringing the energies and experiences from there?
Boy, let me tell you. For Camp, it's interesting because like as much as Space Kid is like the precious cinnamon bun of pure joy, I'm still surrounded by a-holes, for lack of a better term. So that energy transfer isn't as crazy, but yes, shifting from Achievement Hunter to RWBY and back and forth can be a little bit jarring, especially now as a parent, understandably. Like there are kids who watch RWBY and families that gravitate toward it. So I want to be nice and not say the no-no words. No-no words are an Achievement Hunter. Go check that out.
Like what?
Oh, you know. I know, I'm sorry. I'm
I
sorry.
tried to trip you up.
No way.
For me, it's really hard to go from like Achievement Hunter and Camp because they're so different. Like Max is just such a good boy, and you know, it's just like to get in that headspace of someone so kind and generous. But let me tell you, when I go to RWBY, it's tough because I'm just kidding. They don't call me.
Maybe they lost your number?
Yeah. For me to go from Achievement Hunter to RWBY is hard because it's just me pounding on the door screaming, let me in! I could just ad-lib a few. Who did I hurt?
On the other side,
I'm sorry!
Hold the door!
And I just keep sticking my fingers under the door, doing like signs. And I'm just going, let me in! Hey guy, hey, it's son, remember the food fight? You want to do that food fight? Carrie? Neptune, where are you? Hello? The end.
How are you?
Good.
Good, thank you. Yourself?
I'm pretty good. I have a question for both of you. You guys have done the Minecraft Let's Plays in the past. Which one's your favorite and worst? And why is your worst Monopoly?
It's funny you say Monopoly, but the best and worst is Legends of the Hidden Tower parts 1 through 3. That's my favorite of the series.
Hey, don't forget Creeper Soccer.
Oh, Creeper Soccer was gold.
Something. It was mostly dirt or something.
It was this whole thing.
That's what it was.
God, the great obsidian argument of 2012. It's funny, I mentioned that series. To this day, Jeff will get visibly upset.
He does.
If you mention Legends of the Hidden Tower and
Like,
Jeremy Hyde.
it's a trauma event.
It is. Yeah.
Not even exaggerating. He's just 5'4", and he starts muttering under his breath. Do it, it was 5'4". He really took that with him. Man, I don't know. I will say it could be the best and worst. My answer could be the Candyland 4 Loco. Just because Jeremy and I had a good time. I remember that. And I probably yelled at Matt. Everything's his fault. And separate with Minecraft, every randomizer is my favorite. When I scream at Matt and blame him for everything. There is a video we just filmed, the new randomizer, right? I think that, I don't know if the finale of Banjo came out or it's about to come out, but we finished Banjo and we already started the new one. We're doing Wind Waker, and I'm just like laying into him at the end of it. It's brutal. But he goes, not like the normal Matt. When in a regular video, you lay into him, he goes, stop it. And he's like, why? And this, he giggles because he knows it's like he gets the credit for pissing me off. It's his fault. But I hate him. I just hate him so much. I don't want to talk about him anymore. I'm gonna say 4 Loco and Matt. Those are my least favorite parts of Minecraft. Matt brag. There's a part where I'm doing something and Matt goes, you can do this. And I just go, no you can't. You can't, it's like a jump. I'm like, you can't make that jump. He's like, yeah, if you run and jump up there, you can grab the thing. And I'm like, you're lying, you're a liar. Shut up, liar. We're going back and forth. And so finally I do it. I run and I jump and I grab the thing. Like he said I would. I grab it. And I look at him and I go, see, I was right. And he got so upset. And he was like, I'm not even saying anything.
Hello. So I was wondering if you guys could talk about Ice Queendom or Volume 9 at all, or like any production you're working on right now?
I can see what we can talk about, depends on what we're asking.
I can tell you everything I know.
Yes, all questions for Ice Queendom and Volume 9 will be addressed directly to
I'm an
Michael. Thank
open
you.
book and it's blank.
The rest is still unwritten. Oh.
I hope you don't see a lot of sun, because if you do, it ain't me. Well, it's back to episode 1. What?
There's a new
Stock,
character.
they're gonna use stock recordings.
There's a new character called Moon, and she's a monkey butt. Just a full monkey butt the whole time. Anyways, I can do my best to answer a question. Do you have one, or is it just generally what can we talk about?
I was wondering particularly about Ice Queendom, like how involved you guys are going to be with it, because I know that it is supposed to be like a Japanese production, and I think you guys are doing the American voices for it, but like I was wondering if you could talk any more about that in particular?
Yeah, if you hit the nail on the head, actually, I will go ahead and say it because it is public, but for anyone who's not familiar with the project, sorry, I get very emotional talking about it. For anyone who's not familiar with the project, this is called RWBY Ice Queendom. This is a Warner Brothers Japan production. They are taking RWBY as an intellectual property and putting it into a 2D format, so a lot of the traditional anime that we've seen. It's a very similar style with the voice cast that dubbed the original RWBY that we did, so same cast. Now they're creating the original new show, Ice Queendom, and we are doing the dub. Did that make sense?
Yes.
Cool, yeah. All that being said, I can't explain to you how awesome that relationship is. Like, we created our own show. We have these super famous voice actors voicing our characters in Japan. They are amazing, incredibly talented, and they have resumes like nobody's business. But they dubbed our characters, and we already were so honored to be a part of that. And now we get the return honor of getting to dub over their performances of our characters. That's just so cool.
And,
So yeah.
and me, right?
Yeah, Son's there, in spirit.
Probably didn't get to that episode.
He's right here with all of us. In our hearts, in our minds.
So my question is, what are your fondest memories of working for Rooster Teeth and Achievement Hunter?
Oh man, that's too many. I don't. It's weird that, like, for better or worse, like that is. I let Lindsay answer, but I think for both of us, like that is our lives, right? Like we go home, but it's not like a job where you're working, whatever, as like a retail job, and then you'll have friends and stuff, obviously, but like you leave the job and you go home and you're not like living it forever. Like that's been Rooster Teeth for me since I got there, right? Where it's like you go home and it's like you're planning videos for the next day, or you're still shooting stuff at home, or like it's the only people. It's so weird, right? Like, and I'm sure there's people that don't fully adhere to this, but let's say for most people like that we work closely with, it's such a weird like bubble, like that it's bizarre that you gravitate towards the people that work there. We have Lindsay and I have like 3 friends outside. We had more friends that didn't work at Rooster Teeth 10 years ago because now some of them work at Rooster Teeth. And so it's like, I know like one person. I have my family and friends in New Jersey, and that's about it. Like no one I am close friends with doesn't work there. And it's just because it's your whole life. And I think like to make that connection, if I went to go just meet a new person and a new friend, they would be like, shut up about your job, I don't care. Like shut up, I don't care. But it's just like everything we do, and like it's our hobbies and our interests and what we do for fun. It's the people we hang out with and stuff. So for me, it literally is like my entire life. And so it's interesting that like I know from the scope of being a fan, you watch a video and you're like, the video's over. But like even one video, there's stuff that happened before, happened after, that happened the next day talking about that video. So it's just like times that by 10, 11 years. couldn't even, I might be able to pick out like, oh, I had a favorite moment from this one video. But like, probably some of my best times there aren't on a video, you know? It's just like the people that are there and, you know, like the interactions and the friendships and just the fun stuff there. It certainly did create this little nugget of more enjoyable moments when not being filmed, right? Which is a weird thing to say as like a content creator because you want to film everything. But more often, like as much as possible in recent history, I've been to be like, let's just not like, oh, we can film this. I'm like, or we can just, I like to say, or we can be normal humans. Because because everything is always like, once it gets to the point where you realize this is funny, someone else will think this is funny, you start filming it, but little by little your soul gets sucked out. It's a good suck, right? It's a good soul suck, I'm not complaining. But I wanna prevent the point where I look and go, oh, my whole soul's gone. So let's just keep this one little soul in this time, and then we'll come back to it later. But it's just like, I couldn't even tell you, like, right off the top of my head, some of the best memories I've had, like playing Mario Party with Gavin and Meg in our apartment. You know, they just like come over, like actual people, and we'd like play a video game, do board game nights and stuff. When we could take stuff from work, like we play a new game on Let's Roll, and we go, wow, that was really fun. And then that night, Alfredo and I both buy the game ourselves, and we're already planning for like the next weekend to do it. That's like my most enjoyment for something that you may not see in a video.
Yeah, I can agree. Before working at Rooster Teeth, I had a lot of focus in news, and like teach their own. If that's your jam, go for it. I won't yuck your yum. But
Everybody's saying that now. I don't like it.
Step up.
I don't like it. I won't yuck your yum.
Welcome to the
It
internet.
doesn't sound good.
It's not. That's
Yeah,
the
but
point.
it's too far, right?
No, you're yucking all the yum right now, Michael.
I'm yucking the yuck on your yum phrase, okay? I'm yucking that. I don't like it.
All that being said, I personally was not a fan of the news environment. I just didn't feel like there was a lot of creative expression, which understandable. Your job is to relay factual information. Okay. With Rooster Teeth, I feel like that is so much of the joy, like what Michael was saying, is coming in and, I mean, you do have to work, you have things that need to be accomplished, but at the same time, there isn't this rigid atmosphere, there isn't, I don't know, it's kind of indescribable because there are deadlines, there are a lot of things that are extremely full of pressure, but at the same time, we do get the release and the joy of interacting in ways that are not really possible in other environments, and you know, understandably. For example, constantly, I'll go over to people's desks, and a lot of the creative spark that we get during the day is like, hey, what are you up to? Like, let's just talk for a second. Let's literally just, for lack of a better term, shoot the shit and create content. Yeah, I said it. It's a factual term. But anyways, I like that we can do that. And sometimes I like about like the creative spark can start with something simple like our hoverboards.
Guys, Cat Dooley's live right now.
Or that, Cat Dooley being live right now.
I'm just telling people.
I think that is the nature of achievement hunter specifically. We have to have a feel for it. I don't like the, you know, like it's not like we're family. We're not, and we're not like BFFs. But I would like.
We're not family.
Yeah. Well, Side note to you. Someone asked if we were brother and sister earlier today.
Oh, that's awesome.
It's a whole thing.
Oh my God.
I was telling Joe that people ask that a lot at conventions.
I said we're not in Alabama.
And I say absolutely.
What are you doing?
I go, yeah.
I'd say we're a community, is a good way to put it. A community of content creators, but our community has more fun, I think.
Damn, you sound like the HOA.
That's right. We won't find you. It's all right.
That's messed up. I'll say there were about 6 days, I haven't seen the video yet, where Trevor and I cut a door into a wall. And there were about like 5 days where like we kind of talked about it. He mostly came up with it. And he's like, we're gonna do this. I was like, okay. And I already had this Sawzall. I was like, oh, I have this Sawzall. I'll just bring it in. He's like, nice. For a week, I would get to the office and go, you bring it in? And I go, oh, I forgot. And he would get mad. And then the next day, he'd go, you bring it in? And I go, oh, shoot, I forgot. I think I almost got, like, maybe not written up, but like, I think I was one missed Sawzall away from getting a meeting going, look, we need to talk about your work behavior. You are supposed to bring in the saw so we can cut a hole in the wall and make a door out of it. And it's becoming unacceptable that I keep reminding you. And I was like, well, you keep reminding me at 10 o'clock, okay? Not the night before, not at 8 o'clock. I got 2 screaming kids in the morning, okay? You don't put a saw in my hand, right? And I finally got it, and I screamed. The day I brought it in, the guy wasn't there. He was in meetings all day. I was outraged. But boy, we cut a hole in that sucker, all right. But that, the little one was talking about, that was like, Trevor going, we gotta cut the wall! For like 4 days. I'm going, I forgot! And he's like, I bought the hinges! We spent, I kid you not, about $12 on that video. Because he brought his screw gun. I had to saw in the blades already. I just brought them in. And he spent like $12 on the peephole and at maybe bits. He might not even need to buy the bits. And just like hinges and a door handle. That was like a $12 video.
That's good budgeting.
It's good budgeting, plus my time, so it was $400,000, $12. But for material, not bad. That's like when you go to the mechanic and you're like, wow, the part's only $400. Why is it a $2,800 bill? And you go, time, baby. Labor. And that's Achievement Hunter. And I slapped Joe with slappy hands. Oh! It was, I would say, of all the people doing it, it was the oddest when I glanced over for a second and saw Deku crawling across the floor. And I was like, oh shit, he thinks I'm Bakugo, he's coming for me. That's not me. That's not me.
Young Midoriya, do you have a question?
So we brought up the food fight earlier. What do you think Sun and Neptune's food weapons would be?
Oh, Sun would have sausage links. Like nunchucks.
Yeah, I thought bananas, but you know,
Then he
you're
has
right. You're right.
nunchucks. Why would he have bananas?
He's like, he loves bananas.
Sausage links are linked together. What are you talking
I
about?
guess he would need if he needs to like.
I feel like they probably did that in the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie, didn't they? I bet Michelangelo had sausages at one point. He would have to either have sausages, or he'd have like, it's still not as long as a staff, but like a big thing of salami.
Good? Good big bow staff? Salami piece? No. Or
Yeah,
like,
but I don't know, where you find a salami bow staff?
no, what's.
When do we have to leave? Are we getting thrown out soon? What time does this go till?
I saw a 5-minute mark earlier also.
Oh,
Yeah,
10
oh,
minutes?
sick.
Oh, strap in.
Woo!
Okay. Again, if you want to escape, the exit's right behind you. It's 180 degrees that way. You're free to leave. I will wave at you from the door. I can't go that way.
Bye, Wildcat!
Thank you. You need to answer.
I will say, Sun aside,
I love you too.
that was RWBY, not me. I think Neptune would have like, you know in cartoons when they always have like the sparkling water bottle and someone gets sprayed with it real quick. Like I feel like that would very much be him,
What
and
are
then he
you
would run
saying?
away
Are you
from
talking
it.
about the spritzer?
Yeah.
I described that
Official
poorly.
term, the spritzer.
Okay. Well, you gotta have the actual spray.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think that's been in a cartoon since the 60s. Do those things exist anymore? Do people actually spray? When's the last time you saw that?
I mean, I'm
I
still
don't know what you're
watching
talking
Tumblr,
about.
okay?
It's like a fire extinguisher for water, or Lindsay's describing, but anyone under the age of 50 doesn't know what that is. What are you talking about?
Go ask your grandparents about it. They'll tell you. They know what's up.
Anyway, that's what you're using. Got it.
Yeah.
That's your weapon. Thank you, Deku.
Neptune? Yes.
Let's try that way.
There.
So you guys mentioned that you guys are like a community and you worked with each other for a long time now. Have you guys ever pranked each other at work?
I mean, when we do bigger stuff, we try and film it, right? Because that's what we're doing. We kind of try to turn. If you're gonna waste time, at least film it, and you can get away with wasting time. It's just hard, right? Because we all kind of do stuff like that, and also you're all kind of in the same room at the same time. It's hard to like play an actual prank, without really like putting in some after hours or coming in early or doing something or whatever. I just like to annoy people on a daily basis is what I do in lieu of pranking. just like, Sarah's the easy target, just because I open my mouth and she's like, that's not right, and runs over. Sarah, I don't even know what her title is. She got promotion. She has the same job, but she got promotion.
I believe
Very
technically her
interesting
title is
title.
production coordinator now.
We have Trevor and Sarah are in charge of Achievement Hunter, right? If there's two boss daddies and mommies, but I
We have two daddies.
Well, no, Trevor's the mommy and Sarah's the daddy. That's why I said. That's why if you hear me, I go, "Daddy's getting mad." I'm usually talking about Sarah because she hates fun. But it's just too easy not to mess with her. But an example into my sick and twisted mind. It's something so minuscule, so small that I noticed it in the video and I was like, no one's gonna understand that. But get back to that slap fight video if you saw where Joe and I had the sticky hands and we're just slapping each other. It's relatively new between the games that came out. There's a part where I think it was after we were violently slapping Caitlin's keyboard. There's this little bowling pin thing that are around the office that I knock over. And the reason we have those is months ago, Jeremy was visiting at one point, and we were screwing around with the trolley. It's when those videos came out where he almost kept dying because he was on the tray. We were pushing him down the ramp and he almost got decapitated. Is when we were doing that, I said, you know what would be great if we used him like a bowling ball. Let's buy some bowling pins. And so we found some beautiful Melissa and Doug bowling pins. They're a kids' toy company. We have many Melissa and Doug things in our home. And they're like these little alien, they look like, I don't know what they're supposed to be, but these little like multicolored bowling pins. They're like this big. And I had Sarah buy like 4 boxes of them. And boy, she was upset. Usually this is the stuff that I buy, because if I don't use it, I don't use it. I don't care. That's what I buy. But for some reason, I decided to go through Achievement Hunter and have Sarah actually pay for it. Dude, she was like, when are you gonna use them? When are you gonna use them? It was like pulling teeth to get her to do it, because she was like, I control the budget. How much do these cost? And they were like, I don't know, she maybe spent $40 on them. So by the time we got them, it was like the last day Jeremy was there, and she's like, the things are here. I'm like, I'm not doing that. We don't have time for that, I'm not doing that. And she got very upset. And so those boxes somebody behind me, I swear, those boxes have been in our office for months, unopened, right? And every now and then, Sarah would just come over and go, I bought these. When I bought them. Like they were her, like it was her money. I'm like, well, you didn't pay for it. It's the company money we're talking about. I'll get to it. And so at some point, I guess the post team got bored and opened them. And so now they're just like all over the place. So that's all the backstory, right? That's it. It's just she's annoyed that I asked her to buy it and she never used it. In that slap video, it made the edit where we're slapping Kate's desk, then we move over to like the space next to it, and you can see Sarah on the other side. And even though I don't look at her, I don't talk to her, I slap over one of those bowling pin things, and I say something like, I'm like, stupid things, nobody even knows why Sarah bought these. And she looks up and goes, why I bought them? And that's it. I do shit like that all day, every day, because I knew she would not be able to sit there and not say something. It's impossible. It's not within her nature for her to like roll her eyes. And I knew she was like on her computer working and just completely, I got her. And that's what I do. Those are my pranks. It's the desperate act of a sick man.
Admitting is the first step.
Yeah, but I'm not stopping. So I can stop whenever I want to, but I never will, because I don't want to.
We'll work on step 2.
Nope. Step 1, admittance. Step 2, back to it.
I also like to prank Sarah, but mine's a little bit different. In fact, this footage hasn't even come out because of the nature of the way that we filmed it, but Sarah and I have a very similar build and a lot of similar facial features. So one day, I just bought a wig that looked like Sarah's hair, and I wore clothes that looked like Sarah's.
This is gonna be like 2018, 2019 at the
The
latest.
before times. Yeah, so one day I just came into work, I was like, Sarah, we're gonna like Olsen twin this shit, and like I want you and I to switch out in between like, you know, parts of work. And we filmed it, and it turned into not so much a prank as much, it was more of like a social experiment.
It made people uncomfortable.
Yeah, really. The best part about it was everyone else going, okay, so Lindsay's dressed up like Sarah, right? But Jeremy didn't want to say anything because he didn't want to be the odd man out and like make waves, I guess. So he just kind of like
Well, if you see a bit, you don't want to yell out. There's a bit going on. You just kind of go, did I just see what I think I saw? But you want to let someone else get tricked if they're going to get tricked. I saw it immediately. I was like, what do you think you're doing? And you're like, you're not fooled. And I was like, are you joking me? Sometimes people are like, what's the worst thing that's ever happened to you? And I say, when Lindsay dressed like Sarah.
I had fun.
The final question.
Well, so I was like 11 or 12 years old when I watched my first Lieutenant M. Killer video.
Oh God. That's my original YouTube channel before I got hired.
I'm 25 now.
Okay, that's good. Congratulations.
Thanks. I'm surprised I made it too.
We did it.
Is there any like old videos and stuff that you ever go back and watch or
Oh God, no.
Tribute to how you are now?
No, I don't think there was any like one thing, honestly. I think it's just, I mean, I can attribute the difference between that and me now is honestly just living in Texas for 10 years, and that's not just like location, but like people and, you know, growing up and just like experiencing stuff. Like, I don't think anything changed me overnight. And so I don't like not watch those videos because it's like, you know, oh, it's cringe or this and that, whatever. It's just weird to watch a video. So I started that. I only did it for maybe a year or two before I got hired. And so maybe 2009 to 2011, I was just making stupid videos. And so I was like 22, 23. And at that point, like you are now 25, you think, I'm all grown up, I'm done. And so when I look at that now, almost 35, it's just a different human being, right? Like, there's stuff, it's like my personality and this and that, but I'll watch it and be like, oh, I would have made a different joke now, or oh, I wouldn't have done that, I would have done this. So it's just a weird feeling of like watching stuff when people are like, I love this rage quit. And I'm just like, yeah, I would never make that video now. Like, not that I wouldn't go back in time and not make it, but I'm just like so different in my brain and like just how I express myself and the humor I want to make and the videos I want to make are so vastly different. It's just weird to look at that, and I don't want to criticize it, you know what I mean? So it's like, when I hear, but then even Lindsay's playing a podcast from last week, I hear it in the house and I just scream, turn it off. The last thing I want to hear ever in my spare time is our content. Unless it's something like not heavily featuring me or is like something that I'm a tiny part of, right? Like if, like Camp Betrayal, I'm one person in like this huge production. It's like, okay, I can watch that. But it's like, I'm watching the podcast. And I'm like, turn it off now.
I constantly watch our content, mostly because I'm interested in the audience reception and etc. And I'm heavily critical of myself, so I watch and go, okay, cool. But I still like to watch rage quits, which, you know, Michael has opinions about. So every now and then you'll hear in the other room, like, no, Luca No is playing. And he's like, what are you watching? I'm like, it's the one with the cat.
And I just scream, loser, you're a loser. Turn it off. You've got 2 kids, you loser. Turn it off.
I still watch Orbs or BS. That's me. So, censor myself.
But anywho, thank you.
Well, thank you so much for joining us here.
I'm sorry, I apologize about all this. I'm sorry. You cannot have your time back. You could have left, I'm sorry. I've just learned that your chairs were rigged to go off if you tried to leave. That's when I didn't leave, so I'm sorry. But thank you for coming.
Yeah, for those of you who have any more questions, they do have a booth downstairs. I think you guys are doing autographs. You guys are doing some photos.
Yeah, we're going to be doing autographs and photos for the remainder of the day after this. We will take a slight break right after this panel, just to kind of touch up a little bit. But please come say hi at our booth. If you have any questions that we just didn't get a chance to answer here, feel free to ask them there. We'd love to take photos, sign some stuff, take videos. Yeah.
That's all true. Lindsay, we're going to go backstage and Lindsay's going to go, I thought that went all right. And I'm going to say, I don't care. I mean, good or bad. Like, not that I don't care about doing it. Like, well, it's over. We already did it. Okay. Stop living in the past.
Well, I have to do a debrief after every panel.
Yeah. Do you know what booth we're at?
I don't. I'm sorry.
We're at
Our booth.
We're at the Michael next to Lindsay booth. Come take a pic with Rooster Teeth's favorite siblings.
No!
And
The Jones
we're
twins.
by the lightsabers.
We are by the lightsabers.
Are we by Lady Demon? Dimitrescu.
We are right next to Lady Dimitrescu.
So if you want to get stepped on, I haven't spoken to her. I think Maggie is her name. I bet she gets it a lot because she's a popular lady, Lady D, and that's it. Thank you.
Thank you for watching.